How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I made a video, but in the past few months I've been dealing with a lot personally that's kind of held me back from creating. You know, I've already shared so much on this platform, from vlogging my wedding journey, daily workouts, lifestyle content in general, that I feel like I'm called to, share the journey that I have up ahead. And I feel like what I'm gonna share with you guys is gonna be quite shocking for a lot of you. You know, there's something about vlogging that allows me to be raw and document life in real time. It's something that I've always loved creatively and thankful for, because it's an outlet to express myself as me. And the one thing I love about making vlogs is that one day it'll allow me to reminisce and see how much I've grown. And as I embark on this new journey ahead, I feel like it's only right for myself to document the good, the bad, and the ugly that comes with it, just because that's real life. My personal channel has never been manicured or meant to be perfect, and that's really not gonna change despite what I'm going through. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but I have cancer. I've just been diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma after months of tests, scans, and meeting with a bunch of different doctors. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you guys how I found out and everything health-wise that led up to my final diagnosis. Alright, so where do I begin? It was back in November. I had a calf injury. I tore my calf muscle from playing basketball. It was pretty bad. It took like a month to recover, and after a month from the injury, I started noticing unusual back pain, and it felt like it was bone pain or something deeper that, was not normal, because I feel like it would only happen at night, and I've never felt anything like that before. So after dealing with that for, I think, a couple of weeks, the pain just coming in at night, I met up with my primary care doctor, and she requested for me to have an MRI for my lower back. When we got the MRI results back, it was showing that I had a bulging disc on my lower back and bone marrow edema, which is built up fluid in your bone, and I guess the bulging disc was also pressing on a nerve. So my doctor requested that I go see a neurosurgeon. We saw the neurosurgeon, and my wife was with me, and he was reading the scans, and that was a pretty scary moment. I think this was about 2 months after the initial calf injury too. So 2 months after, we're with the neurosurgeon. He's checking my lower back, reading the MRI results, and he was telling us that he only sees these kind of readings with cancer patients. And the bone marrow edema and all that, he wasn't even concerned about any nerves being pressed. Yeah, we were just in shock and disbelief, and we did not want to believe him at all, because he had horrible bedside manner. And he was just a douchebag, honestly. But, to prove him right, we got an MRI for my upper back that he requested as well. And the MRI would also check my abdomen and my front and the pelvis area and all that. So we got that done, and fortunately, Julia's aunt is a radiologist, so when we had the MRI scans, I was able to ask them right after the MRI for a copy of my discs, which were the scans of the MRI procedure. So we sent the scans to her aunt, and unfortunately what she read was, indication that the neurosurgeon could be right. What she read was that there was bone marrow edema in my upper back as well, a mass in my front chest, and bone lesions in my pelvis area. So, at that point, we're just in disbelief, because, I don't know, the only symptoms that I could be feeling from a cancer would be back pain, which was just weird. Because also, I've always treated my health as a priority. I go to the gym daily. I stay away from junk food. My eating habits are, I think they're well, but I don't know, it's just crazy to think that I possibly could have cancer from the lifestyle that I'm living. But yeah, it was just really bad timing, because the day before I found out about the tumor, my sister-in-law passed away in an accident, and it was just a crazy time. I mean, it was super recent still, and we're still trying to, cope with that, but, the timing couldn't have been any worse. At that moment, though, I knew I had to be tough. I knew I had to be there for my wife. I knew I had to, try to not stress myself out too much because of my well-being and the possibility that I could have cancer or something. But yeah, we flew my sister-in-law to Philadelphia where she had her funeral. We were in Philadelphia and New York for 2 weeks. But before we flew out, I actually met with a few oncologists, and we found one that I really liked, and I really connected with him, and I felt like if the worst were to happen, he's the guy that I want by my side. His next plan was to get a full PET CT of my body, and he was pretty much saying if the mass in your chest lights up on the PET CT scan, it will indicate that it's cancerous. And if it doesn't light up, then it's probably something just benign or, whatever. And he was telling me not to worry about my bone pain right now because whatever funky is going up in my chest is probably what's causing everything going wrong with my body at the moment. So we go to Philly, we go to New York, and then we come back after 2 weeks. So the day we get back from Philadelphia and New York, I had my PET CT scan, and I got the results a few days later actually, and my doctor called me and he said that the mass did light up, and I actually had lymph nodes in my neck, my chest, my abdomen, and my pelvis that lit up as well, along with bone lesions in my back. And that was pretty intense when he told us that. So the next move was to get a biopsy of the tumor in my chest, and we got that done. That was not easy. Results came back, and we met up with my doctor in person, and he was telling us he's 60% sure that it's classic Hodgkin's lymphoma, but he cannot take 60% as, a final diagnosis. So the next step for my doctor was to go into the lymph node in my neck above my collarbone and perform a biopsy excision for that. And he was telling us that will for sure indicate if you have Hodgkin's lymphoma or not. And he was saying that he was going to send it to the best doctor in California, in USC, which is his colleague. So we were pretty happy about that. But we were still wondering, like, why do I have all this bone pain? Can we figure out if the lymphoma is actually, in the bone? So my oncologist actually performed a bone marrow biopsy on me the next day, and that was not easy as well. They literally laid me on my stomach and took a piece of my lower bone, which was, something that I hope I never do again in my life. And 2 days after that, the lymph node biopsy excision was scheduled, and just to be safe, I was gonna be put under, so they might as well, place the chemo port in my chest at the same time. The port in my chest is actually where I'm going to receive the chemo infusions, and I'll show you guys real quick what it looks like. So this is my port right here that I will have for the next 6 months. And this is the area where they did the lymph node excision. And that's all of this took a few days to recover it. And that was not fun. But long story short, we got the biopsy results back, and doctor called me up. He's like, we have 100% diagnosis that it's classic Hodgkin's lymphoma. He was very confident that this is something that I will beat because of my age, my lifestyle, my health in general. My blood work was always perfect. Once we found out, it was like a breath of fresh air. I feel like the hardest part of all of this was literally the waiting game of finding out what was going on with my body, so many nights where I've questioned, what did I do wrong to deserve this? Am I going to die? Why me? It's just, I think that was the hardest part, and in my head, that was the hardest part, so I'm literally ready to take on this battle and beat this thing, Yeah, I don't even know if I explained this whole story right. It's just still a lot going on in my head, and I don't have a script or anything, so I know I left a lot out, but yeah, I start chemo in a couple of days. The treatment is gonna last for 6 months. I feel like I'm mentally prepared for it now. I feel great. generally. I feel like the only symptoms I have from this lymphoma is back pain, fatigue. I do have rashes all over my body now, which could be a symptom. And yeah, the fatigue that I have just feels like it's getting worse every day. But I don't know if it's because the past 7 months have been, you know, a traumatizing experience or whatnot. I still feel blessed to be here. I still feel good. I feel like God only gives his toughest to his strongest. So I'm gonna get through this. It's gonna be a piece of cake, you know? So yeah, I'll be documenting my chemo journey. I don't know how I'll feel during the whole journey, but I promise on my good days, I'll pick up the camera and try to document as much as I can. I've always been a super positive guy. I've always had a strong mental. And I promise you, that's what I'm gonna keep throughout this journey. So if you're down to come along with me on this journey to beat cancer, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. I'm planning to put out weekly videos again, so I need y'all to keep me accountable. Stay blessed, fam. I love y'all, and I'll see you in the next one.